Let's get our fingers snapping. That's right. Running around chasing this and that, giving it up to God and then taking it back. Just release and let it go. You don't even have to think about it no more. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Get out the way and let God do its thing. You look like the weight of the world's on your back. Just take a deep breath and cut yourself some slack. All that drama ain't good for you. You couldn't change what is if you wanted to. Get out of the way.
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 Get out the way and let God do its thing. Let's hear it from the band. What do you say? What about you, James? The sun's gonna shine and the river's gonna flow. The tide's gonna rise without your say-so. The universe is working and the good is flowing. You don't plant a seed and dig it up to see if it's growing. Get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Whoa, get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Get out the way and let God do its thing. Let's try that one more time. Sounds great. Get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Oh, get it out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Get out the way and let God do its thing. Thank you.
Good morning. There we go. How are you this morning? Just take a look at you. Hello, everybody in the back. Where's the video camera? Where is it? So, hello, online. I'm like, I don't see it. Yeah. Well, this is my first Sunday here. I wasn't here last week. Yeah. And last week I was facilitating a women's retreat that I do every year called Sister Spirit. And it was great. It was magnificent. And one thing about the theme of Sister Spirit is that it permeates in my life in all aspects. So we had this theme of courage rising, emerging from the fire, and there was a phoenix theme. So I decided to dye my hair like the phoenix. And I thought it was really appropriate because the phoenix is such a great archetype for each and every one of us to embody. And I don't know about you, but I've experienced periods in my life where I kind of spontaneously combusted and then I was ashes. Has anybody experienced that? Yeah. And then there's the rising from the ashes. And the story of the phoenix is really beautiful because the phoenix rises anew, but it's a new version of itself that's even better than before. Yeah. And I love that I can have that experience where maybe I've gone through a fire, maybe I self-combusted, maybe experiences on the outside caused me to have this burning out or burning through, and then I'm ashes. But at the very beginning, or the very end, it's the same, right? The ashes are the nutrients. The ashes are filled with the nutrients of what is essential for the new birth to come into being. And I love that example, just like Michael was talking about the fiddleheads, like you cut down all the ferns, cut them all off, and what emerges is this newness. And this isn't a new story. I mean, this is the story of Jesus, the resurrection. This is the story of the springtime and the winter having the latency and the springtime coming into being. This is a story of Osiris when the Nile gets flooded and all of he's dead and all the pieces get put back together and then he's resurrected. It's our story. And so I want to invite you to think about your story today as the story of the phoenix, where you reframe your story in order to experience yourself anew, in order to experience your life anew. And our theme today is that no one is against you. I love that I have three levels to. You want me to move it closer? Move it forward. There we go. Is that better? Oh, there we go. Like that. Yay, tech support. I think that's also going to eliminate the feedback, so thank you. So on our concept today is to consider the concept, how would your life be different if you lived as nothing and no one were against you? What if the entire universe was conspiring for your greatest good? Yeah. What if? And I really love that concept, but that concept gets challenging when somebody seems like they're against me. But I want to break it down really simple, right at the very beginning. I want to talk about something that happens to me all the time. I'm in traffic and somebody cuts me off. Has that ever happened to anybody? No, yeah. And in that moment, let's say, pretend I get really angry or annoyed, right? Nobody feels that way ever. But maybe I do. I get angry and annoyed. And what I'm doing is I'm blaming that person out there for my experience. I'm like, they should know, they should be a better driver, they're cutting me off, they're being rude. Do you see all this judgment coming out? How dare they? Shouldn't they be obeying by all the laws? But what's really happening is I've created a story in my head about the person out there that is causing something to happen inside of me where I'm feeling upset. Now, the person out there actually didn't cause the upset. I'm the one who caused the upset. Because I could have made up a different story. Check this story out. The person who cuts me off is a guy who's driving his pregnant wife, who's in labor in that very moment, trying to get to the hospital. Now, what would I do in that circumstance? I'd be like, please come in, please allow me to help you, to serve you, to get you to your destination in a quicker manner, because I'm so appreciating that you have this mission, and I want to support you in this mission. And then I would feel really good about what I did. But the circumstance is the same. The person cut me off, and the story I make up about it is what's causing something in my life, is what's causing me to feel upset about something in my life. And a lot of times, there's different belief systems that many of us embody when we're children or as we're growing up, or we take this idea that we're not perfect, whole, and complete, and we take it out into the world. Now, I know this. I've been facilitating women's retreats for 12 years. I've been a minister for 8 years, and there's something that is permeating. It's almost in everybody. It's not in everybody, but it's almost in everybody. And it's this idea of, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. So I want you to turn to your neighbor and tell your neighbor, you belong here. Turn to another neighbor, tell another neighbor, you belong here. Okay. Oh, you guys are liking this. Okay, now take a deep breath in. And I want you to repeat after me to somebody in this room. I don't care who you used to be. Say to somebody. And now say, I care who you are right now. And now say again, you belong here. Now, do you see the energy in the room, how it shifted? How does it feel to be told that you belong? Yeah, right? Liam's like, touchdown! But many of you in this room don't know each other. But what we do know is that we are humans and we're on this planet together. And what I do know is that there is an infinite great creator that created everything, and it created all of us whole, perfect, and complete. And many of us forgot that. And the way we forget it and the way we're reminded of it, the way we're reminded of it is through conflict. But we have to choose to see it from those eyes. We have to choose to see it from the eyes that this person was set there to remind me who I am. In the book, The Eye of the Storm, I love that Gary, who's the author, Gary Simmons, he has this idea of a hurricane. And I'm going to read this because it's so good. At the center of the hurricane is its eye, a single theoretical point in space where the forces of the storm are in perfect equilibrium. At the eye, there's peace, calm, clarity, and stillness. The storm of conflict also possesses a center. I call the center the eye of the storm. And he doesn't say eye of the storm, he says eye of the storm. As you surmise from this analogy, the eye of the storm is your wholeness and your spiritual essence. So the idea is that in this physical time-space continuum, we have this idea of separation, and the idea of separation is on the edges, the circumference of the storm. And it might be the idea of black and white. It might be the idea of male and female. It might be the idea of things that seem to be opposites, but they're not. And whenever I shift my attention to the center, to my center, everything out there that looks like a conflict and everything out there that looks like it is in opposition, I realize it's not. It's all part of the wholeness that we are. But the secret is getting to that point, getting to the place where I see that what's going on is for my greatest good, where I can grasp that I am the creator of the conflict and I am the creator of the peace. And perhaps the conflict out there that was created was only there so I can remind me of who I really am. If I think about it, I think about the car example is really easy, but it's like, what is the thing out there reminding me of where I feel like I'm not whole? What is that person or thing an indication of? Because if I'm not feeling whole, that means I feel like I'm lacking something, but in truth, I'm not lacking anything. Has anybody had those moments where you're like so connected to the universe, like totally, I'm meditating, I am feeling zen, and there could be somebody really angry, they'd come at me, they'd say their thing to me. Doesn't bother me. It's because I know that there's nothing wrong here, and I know that I am centered and whole and complete, and whatever is happening out there is not a reflection of my inner experience unless I make it. So when I am off my center, that is the moment that I know that that person out there who is causing me agitation and anger is reminding me that I'm off my center. Is reminding me that there's something in me where I feel like I'm lacking, but I'm really not. So my job is to find out, where's my center? What do I feel like I'm lacking, and how can I reclaim it? How can I regain it? I have a friend who is an agitator. And some of you in the room may be agitators, and some of you might have friends who are agitators. And their purpose in life is to kind of like shake things up. And wherever they go, that's what they do. They just like shake things up. And I know with him, he's recognized that he's an agitator, and he's cool with it. He's okay. He's like, I'm an agitator. I embrace it. I bring it on. And he'll go into our organization or our prayer circle, and he'll say something, and then people are like, oh, why are you saying that? That's so wrong. But it's because he's there to kind of shift people and awaken people to who they truly are. Now, what if the thing that challenged the conflict in your life was the thing that's calling you to the greatest sense of yourself of being? Another way to look at it. Who are you when the shit hits the fan? Who are you? That's a testament to how much spiritual work you've done, and it's not a judgment, but I notice sometimes when that happens, I don't just get the appropriate toilet paper, but I get the right and perfect thing that my spiritual essence needs for that moment. Because it's those moments that are the moments that call you forth into the greatest sense of who you are. And you have an opportunity at those moments to step forward into the fullness of who you are. That's the greatest opportunity for you to shine. And it's also the most difficult. That's why Jesus said, love your enemies. Because your enemies are the ones who give you the key to where you're off. They're not really your enemies. They're conspiring for your greatest good. And I love that, like if you're in the center of the hurricane, the center of the eye of the storm, and there's a storm going on out there, a storm of conflict, but maybe I'm involved or engaged in the storm of conflict. It's right at the edges where I am called to use my biggest resources. In my most uncomfortability is when I'm called to utilize my greatest gifts. Have you had that in your life? And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just get lost in the conflict. I get lost in who I am. But then if I look back at it, I can say, what was this for me? How was this a gift for who I really am? Gary Simmons had an experience with the Jyotish Hindu astrologers that he talks about in the book. And what they said is the purpose of the meeting, so they were talking about his future, and he was like, yeah, my future, like, what are you gonna do? Look to the stars, tell me my future. And they said, no. We're not here to tell you your future. We're here to awaken you to your future. And it kind of stirred him. He was very interested. And they said, write down the 5 most challenging experiences you've had in your life. Well, for him, many of them were his past wives. And they said, yes, tell us about your past wives' experiences. And he said, past life experiences? No, your past wife experiences. And he realized that his past wives gave him an insight. He said, each wife experience has given me the insight into how I have placed the burden of my well-being on somebody else. And they taught me that. And the Hindu astrologer said, can you see how that everything that is for you or against you has its roots within you? And then they said this thing, which I think is our teaching in a nutshell. I mean, it's the most amazing version of what science of mind is, right here. The Hindu astrologer said, the future can only be regarded as probabilities floating on the sea of infinite possibilities. But what makes us so predictable is that attention and awareness continually reframe the present moment in the context of past influencers. Consciousness is poured into the creative framework of attention and awareness to set in motion the forces that organize the manifest universe. Basically, we keep living our present according to our past, unless we shift and change. Unless we shift and change our attention and our awareness to make a new possibility come into fruition, which means we have to shift our attention and awareness on the past into having it be a gift for the future. And that every moment, if I really lived my life like the universe was conspiring for me and every single challenging experience was a gift for me, I would start creating experiences that continue to be a gift for me. And they may not be conflict anymore because I would have received the gift from that person, understanding and knowing who I am in that experience. It's kind of like that person out there. And you might have like a political person, you might have somebody who's like, God, that guy irritates me, or God, that girl irritates me. And if you think about them, when you're looking into a mirror of them, they're pointing out in you what you feel like is lacking in you. It's a mirror. Because if you didn't feel like anything was lacking, if you didn't feel like anything was wrong, then you wouldn't be upset at that person. And again, just like the car, I'm angry at the person in the car who gets in front of me. The anger didn't come from that person, it came from me. You have experiences, the experiences don't have you. And you are not your experiences. Who you are is an expression of the infinite great creator. And I loved, Kathy Ann had this great quote like 2 weeks ago, and then it was in this book, and then I'm like, oh my God, it has to be, you gotta hear the quote again. I'll say it again to you. Gospel of Thomas. He said, if you bring forth that which is within you, what you have will save you. If you do not bring forth that which is within you, that which you do not have within you will kill you. So basically, you have your gifts to bring to this world, and if you don't have them activated and fully alive in this world, then they will be the death of you. And sometimes it takes somebody who seems like they're in conflict with you for you to pull that gift out. Sometimes it's the thing that you needed the most. I feel like that in my former relationship. Before I met Gina, I had another relationship. I was completely in love, and this woman fell in love with another woman. And I was really devastated. And it's like one of those things where like there's flags all along and behaviors all along. We weren't really good for each other, but I was completely devastated in that moment. I thought it was the worst thing ever. And when I looked back, I realized I wasn't really being the dream partner that I wished she could be for me. I wasn't. I was impatient on things. She wanted me to come down and meet her coworkers. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. It's annoying. It's uncomfortable for me. And I realized that if I really wanted to attract the person in my life that I wanted, I had to be that person. Now, she gave me that gift. And that gift came with a lot of grief and a lot of sorrow because I was very sad. But in the midst of that was that jewel, the pearl of great price, right? It's like I have to find that in the ashes, in that intensity of a fire or lava, there's a diamond. And that's each and every one of us. So instead of saying, oh, my life is this big crap show, it's not. What if every single thing led you up because the universe is conspiring for your gifts to be shared with the world? And whether it was the challenging person or thing or condition or circumstance that called out that gift, or the person who loved you and appreciated you and really saw who you really are, who called out that gift, both were necessary in order for you to shine fully of who you are. But are you taking it like that? Are you embodying it like that? Or do you see it as your enemy? You know, whatever you think is against you is your enemy. If you feel like a person is against you, it's your enemy. If you think your body is against you, it's your enemy. If you think your illness is against you, it's your enemy. So I have 4 things for you to take on. If you have an enemy in your life, if you think you have an enemy in your life, I have these 4 things. And this is from the book. It's really great. Remember, first of all, that the enemy is a reflection of your belief that something is against you. It's only your belief. Your belief is not true, and what's not true is that the situation is against you. So this is the 4 secret tools, 4 secret keys on how to deal with the enemy. Number 1, love. Look into the mirror. Think of the person or the situation as a mirror and the place in you that's not connected to your wholeness. If you were connected, you would not feel intimidated or threatened. And so therefore, they're the mirror. So you can look at where you are not connected to your own wholeness, which is the basis of your beingness. The second thing, make it mean that it's for good. So, we're meaning-making machines. Anybody here done Landmark? Formerly EST, right? The first thing is, we're meaning-making machines. What if there's no meaning to life except what we make it? We're meaning-making machines. Brené Brown talks about how our brains are hardwired for story. We might have facts here, we might have a gap, and then we have facts there. Our brain wants to make up the middle. We want to make up a story for the middle of the missing facts. And we keep doing it. So if we're going to make it mean something, we might as well make it mean something good. If you're going to make up a story, make up a good one. If you're going to make up the story that the universe conspired for your good, and that this person is part of that conspiracy. So bless that person on their aspect of the story for you. Make it mean something good. So the first one, look into the mirror with love. Second, make it mean that it's for good. Bless the person as a source of good in your life. The third thing is do the right thing. So that means letting go of your aspect of needing to be right. Like, I feel like if the person cut me off in traffic, I'm right and justified in cussing them out. But really, I don't need to be. I don't need to be because, honestly, it doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve me, it doesn't serve the other person. What if I let go of the need to be right and I got more connected to my need to be happy? Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? Yeah, I'd rather be happy too. But a lot of people want to be right. I'm right. It's my way or the highway because I'm right. So do the right thing. You can say that the right thing to do is not about winning, defeating the enemy, making them look bad, or you looking good. It's about taking authentic action on what's missing in the relationship. And each circumstance is going to be different. But do the right thing, but don't make it that you're right. That's the third thing. And the fourth thing is set yourself and your enemy free. Pray for them. Can you imagine if you prayed for the people who were persecuting you, who were spiting you, who were cyberbullying you on the internet when you posted something nice and they posted something mean? Remember that this is a relationship of wholeness. How many of you are praying for your enemies? All right, we got some out there. Wow, already, I'm on it. And what if you aren't? What if you did? What if you embrace the idea that your enemy is here for your greatest good? In the Science of Mind textbook, which is written by Ernest Holmes, which is our founder, he says, a sense of separation from good causes us to feel restricted, while a sense of unity with good changes the currents of causation and brings happier conditions into the experience. You could actually change your past and have it change your current experience by changing how you feel about it. And you can change your future by shifting who you are in the moment. Everything is dependent on you finding your center and who you truly are. You can choose to be the house divided against itself. When you have an enemy, that is a house divided against itself. And when you see this picture holistically, then you come into the idea that every person out there, whether they're part of conflict or they're part of support, that they're there supporting your greatest good coming forth. So what if you just took that on this week? What if you took on the idea that every person, every conflict, everything out there, even on the news, was for your greatest good? What if you took this world on? What if you took it on in a way that it caused you to really awaken to what your gifts are to share? What if each and every one of us went out and saw the person on the street and saw the person in the politics and saw the person who has a gun who's shooting other people as somebody who's conspiring for our greatest good, not just individually, but collectively for humanity? I think we might be different people in this world. I had a person on my team who really had a lot of upset. And I had another person on my team who was concerned that at a retreat there would be a lot of upset. And I was like, you know what? You're projecting into the future because of your past experience. Just because you've had upset with a particular person doesn't mean your future has to experience that. But if you choose now in advance that it's going to be that way, it will be that way. But what if you played with the idea that things are changing in this moment? Because it can be up to you. So I want to just have you try that on this week. Have you embody the idea that you are at a center, that you are at the center which is God-centered. And you are at a place where only life can support you. Are you willing to do that this week? Are you willing to do that this week? I hope it's like you're really paying attention and that's why you were so quiet. Well, I'm going to do that this week too. And so I'm going to know with you that whatever is in your life is conspiring for your greatest good. And I know that we're in this together and that this world better look out, because what we're creating now is better than any of us has ever seen before, because we're creating something that's never been done before. And I'm a part of it and you're a part of it, and so it is. Thank you. Oh, and let's pray. So I bring myself back to that place of recognizing and knowing that there is a universe. This universe that I call God, other people call Allah or Buddha. Some people call it Jesus. Some people call it the quantum field. But what I know about this universe is that it's infinite in possibility, and that it created galaxies. It created our solar system. It created this planet. It created a sun that is burning brightly right now, that is at the perfect distance from Earth for all of life to exist on this planet. It's a divine intelligence that caused the ferns to come into being. It causes the flowers to bloom. And it causes me to awaken up to my own life in a new way, where I am resurrected, where I realize that from the ashes, I am born again. And so as I step into this truth right here and right now, I declare that every person here is awakened to their greatest sense, awakened to their greatest beingness. That there is something that is shifted here right now. And all that no longer serves us melts away. And what is revealed is the splendiferous glory of the infinite great Creator as it represents itself as humanity on this planet, where I know I belong. I belong because I chose to be here. And each and every person chose to be here whether they remember it or not. And so while I see it and I know it, I can remember for them. I can remind them of their magnificence. I can remind them that we're in this glorious dance together, causing each other to shine. And so I just surrender into that, embracing the shiny, the sparkly, the starlight, the essence of who I truly am. And so as I embody that, I know each and every person here goes forth into this world, into this reality, with new eyes, with a new way of being, with a new way of seeing. And I know that God's got it because God's got us, and we express it. And for that, I'm grateful, and so it is.